Welcome to Between Soul and Sky. This is a soul-centered invitation to a spirit-led, soul-inspired podcast dedicated to guiding you on the evolutionary journey of the soul. Here's your host, Ricky from the Star Whisperer.
Welcome to the next episode of Between Soul and Sky. I am super excited to welcome back Anya to do another episode together. And today we have a really interesting topic to talk about. Anya, welcome on back. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me back.
Definitely. Today, we're going to talk about the idea of living an aligned life and what that means. And when we look at Vedic philosophy, there's this terminology that is discussed called the gunas. And there are three of these. And Anya's going to give us a little bit of a tour around the gunas and how to really understand how these operate in our everyday life. But before we begin, I just wanted to ask you a quick question as far as at an overall umbrella view, what do you feel living an aligned life means? Like when someone says I'm living an aligned life, what does that mean to you personally?
To be healthy and happy.
And simple. That's such a simple answer to
Yes.
such a complex question.
Yes.
I love that. So
Because everything, it's either our mental happiness, mental health, or physical health.
yeah,
Yes, it's our
totally.
resource. We want that resource to be, and mental and physical to be full.
Yeah. Would you throw spiritual in there as well? Spiritual health?
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. Like mental health, yeah.
It goes in together.
Yeah. Why not?
So when it comes to living an aligned life, there's this concept known as the three gunas. Can you share us just kind of like at an introductory level, we'll go through them each, but what are the gunas? What does this mean? And how were you first introduced to this concept?
So I first got introduced to this concept when I started learning Vedic astrology.
Okay.
There is this teacher whose name is Rami Black, who has passed away in last Purnima, in the last full moon. Rest him in peace. He's gonna have amazing reincarnation, but he literally just passed away, and he has amazing books on Vedic astrology and specifically on the gunas. So and his books they all translated into, he's Russian. The books are translated into English, and they so easy to read. I read all of his books, and it's like he explains every aspect of life, from relationships to Ayurveda to Vedic astrology. He has a Vedic astrology books, which is so simple and very easy to read.
Yeah.
Gunas basically translated from Sanskrit as ropes. Ropes. Something to energy overall, or ropes, or something that tied together.
Okay.
And we live in the energy of Maya, illusion of Maya, and this all illusion, like energy of Maya, consists from three gunas.
Okay.
And we have those gunas in everywhere, starting from the clothes you wear, food you eat, what comes from your mouth. So those energy, Sattva, Tamas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, they go everywhere. In the water, the ocean water, clean water, dirty water, which is going to be Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. In relationships you have in life. So basically it comes from physical aspect to emotional aspect on life. So everything in life, what we have in Maya world, it's consists of those three gunas.
Interesting. So again, the three of them, so we have the Sattva, which is kind of like at the top, and then in the middle is the Rajas, and in the bottom is the Tamas.
Yes, Sattva, it's the energy. Sattva guna, it's a goodness, energy of goodness.
Okay.
It's the energy of good, clean, grateful, simplicity, humbleness.
Okay.
I'm reading through the list.
You're good.
Patience, tolerance, truthfulness, mercy, careful study of the past and the future. So basically, anything good, self-control, no jealousy, simplicity, generosity. It's a Sattva guna.
Okay.
Then Raja guna, it's the energy of passion. And because we live in Kali Yuga and basically we live in material world, so this Raja guna is very important for us. So it's all about money, obviously sex, lust, the sense of, well, any activity. It's the energy of creation and the energy of energy.
Okay.
And then the next one is the Tamaguna, which is the energy of ignorance. And it's basically ignorance, delusion, darkness, madness, inertia, illusion.
Yeah.
So basically depression, unhappiness, anger, jealousy, all that dark
Yeah.
stuff there.
Goes,
And again, everything in this world consists of these three main energies.
yeah.
And we know there is the Shiva destroyer, Brahma creator, and Vishnu is sustainer. So
Yeah.
basically, the energy they also everything consists from those three energies. But we definitely want to live in Sattvic world. We have to work for, which is Tamaguna. It comes easily. You can just lay down or on the couch, and that's
Yeah.
going to be Tamaguna. Sleep is also, by the way, Tamaguna, because it's inertia. But for the Sattva energy, which we want to be living more, it's hard work.
Yeah. So, one of the questions I was going to ask, and you just kind of got into it, for those that are kind of new to this idea, this concept, the Sattva sounds like it is more designed to help the soul develop more. It's more spiritually charged than the other two per se. And as you say that you really want to try to align yourself with becoming more sattvic. In a way, it also sounds like becoming more self-aware, in a way. So let's say right now in our life, is there a way that we could begin to recognize which guna is dominating us the most right now? Like how would we know if we're in a relationship right now that is kind of tamasic in nature, or it's like if you're sitting down with a client, for an example, what are some of the key indicators where you're like, oh, this does not look good, or you're like, wow, this is a really good sattvic relationship for you?
Yeah, well, unconditional love is going to be sattvic love,
Okay.
like a mother have to her child. And if there is a jealousy and cheating, that goes straight to tamas. And obviously, just like having sex, it's rajasic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and those are important things to
relationships, have about sex. If you having sex to conceive a child, it's basically, I guess, sattvic. But if you're having sex just to have a sex, that's
like hooking up with someone is not sattvic. That would be more tamasic.
Yeah, going to a swingers party.
Yeah, it would be more tamasic. Yeah. What I would say is I just really feel like what the gunas really allow for me to do personally is kind of get a different vantage point of my life and be like, how am I approaching everything right now? For an example, I could imagine sometimes when you're busy and you have a lot to do, you're like, oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat, let me go to McDonald's. Or like, oh, I need to do this, I just need to go get something really quick to get. And what happens is when you operate in those fashions, you're actually living in that tamasic life, which is just it's almost unconscious sometimes. I feel like there's just this, you just do what you do to survive, like it's survival mode in some sort of way. I'm wondering if survival mode is a tamasic thing. I'm just curious. I'm thinking aloud with you. As I'm talking about it in that sense where it's I just need to go do this. I just need to I can't think about how am I going to get healthy vegetables today? I just need to feed my kid. I'm just going to go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal. And it's hard because I feel like that's a reality for so many people.
No, yeah, and again, because we live in Kali Yuga, Kali Yuga is the energy basically of rajas, everything artificial. Sattvic food, it's not what you pre-made food you buy in a grocery. Even it can be organic and it can be healthy. Sattvic food, consider that what you cooked yourself, and it's not left more than 3 hours. So if you leave something in a refrigerator over 3 hours, that's already considered to be rajastic food.
No more leftovers.
No
You
more
can't do
leftovers.
that.
It has to be like, it has to be like cooked with your own hand, the love, yeah.
I was actually watching a video the other day learning about that. So I do remember learning a little bit about that idea about how food is handled differently. And that was kind of the idea here, that you don't really leave food out that long. Like, you don't do that.
Once I learned this, I don't buy cut fruits anymore. You know, I used to buy cut fruits in the grocery stores on the go.
Yeah.
Once
Like deli and stuff like that.
the prana leaves, the vegetable and like prana, the
Yeah.
energy for life we have. So once it cut, it's like after 3 hours, bye bye, and then like you don't know how long that been cut in the supermarket.
That's so. Where do you get your vegetables, if you don't mind me asking? Like, how do you find your vegetables that are like kind of?
I go to Whole Foods or the supermarket, but I just don't buy pre-cut stuff.
Got it. And these are all like little tips to think about. Like, if you're wanting to try to initiate a little bit more of a sattvic living, and a question that I kind of got into a little bit, but part of living an aligned life would mean living at a sattvic level. Living a sattvic life is an aligned life. And that's the ultimate goal, is to try our best to integrate as much of that into our day-to-day life as possible. And that takes a level of awareness. But like you were saying earlier, how realistic is it for us all to be able to do that? Otherwise, we'd all be living in caves.
Not in a big city, for sure.
Yeah.
Because even if you walk into a room and someone like fought 5 minutes ago, there's going to be tamasic energy in the room, and that energy is going to affect you. If someone is fighting, if someone is like sick, if someone is like having like bad negative energy, so in a big city, I live in Miami, it's impossible to live you have to be in a cave somewhere, having your own garden,
right?
not to anyone, no any gadgets,
So let's use that as an example, because I know so many people that are going to be listening that are in cities. I already know this because I know so many people that tell me that they watch us. How can they go from tamasic situations? Like, how would you help a client that is in a tamasic environment or in that space, like you said, in a home where there's fighting? How can we realign ourselves with the sattvic living? Like, how could we help get ourselves into a sattvic style of life, whether it's our thoughts, our actions? Because I feel like it's challenging for many of us. Like, I think about when you see an argument or you have a disagreement with a partner, a friend, a lover, a family member, that immediately, like you said, brings you into that tamasic energy.
I have a tool which called Sage.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Sage.
That's a good example to cleanse your energy. Yeah, to cleanse your energy. And I would imagine that sage is probably considered sattvic in nature.
You have no idea. Even if once I feel sick, I like burn sage. Yesterday, the father of my baby came and he has COVID, and he left, and I feel this like bad energy from him. I saged, went away. It's insane. I mean, like people who like probably gonna like, or like she's a cuckoo, but no. Once you get into intuitive mode, like you feel every person energy, everything. So sage is a great
so
tool.
That's a tool. That's a tool to help you align in a more sattvic life. So including something like that can help you realign your energy. So like if we notice that we're in a tamasic situation, like you said, a tool like sage could help.
Grounding, jump in the water, could be shower, could be ocean. And again, water also, like the clean water, mountain water is sattvic. Dirty chlorine water from our sinks, I don't know if it's sattvic, but like probably rajastic, and some dirty, I don't know, after rain, all this water from the streets is going to be rajastic or tamasic. So again,
Yeah. I'm
it's
thinking also something that you might think is like mantras. Would that also be something that you could do?
mantras, of course, it's the
Yeah.
vibration from the mantras. Vibration clears the energy too. The best cleanser is the water.
Okay.
What I do, I every new moon, well, I try to every new moon, full moon, I clean my floors in the house with salt water, I put some sea salt in there, and I sage. So that helps the energy. And in general, for a person to live sattvic lifestyle, you need to see what you're wearing. Are
Yeah.
the clothes natural or they synthetic? They made by children labor or like they made by hand by some loving person. What's
Yeah.
in your the food? What do you intake in your body, because your body is your temple. That's very important. So your thoughts, so it comes like everywhere from your thoughts, the clothes, food, the water, so everything.
Everywhere.
Again, everywhere is the gunas. And once you know, a person needs to make like the healthy choices.
Yeah. And I think sometimes again I think it's difficult because we do live in such a I don't know if the word is rajastic, but like such a life where Rajas is
Rahu, it's
so so
Rahu
common
energy,
right now.
Rahu energy, yes. So the overconsumption and too much TV. I don't watch TV.
No.
If I learn about the gunas, I don't watch TV. Once I walked in the room, someone watches TV, you can feel that bad energy, especially in
Ah,
the
yeah.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's such a good example is they call it a television program, like, right? And I always say this, and I don't know who said this, but television is telling you a vision, and the program is programming you into that vision. What happens if you're not careful? You're allowing that vibration, that energy to become yours.
Mhm.
And whether we can tangibly see it or not, it's a felt energy. It changes how you feel on the inside. Um, and so I just think in a world that really does reward Raja's energy, I think, like you said, it takes that extra effort and the desire
Mhm.
to live a little bit more in that alignment, in that harmony, in that sattvic style. It's going to take extra effort. So I love that you said that because I find that a lot of people ask this question, like, how can I do that? And it takes effort. It's not going to necessarily be easy, but the moment you start trying to integrate more and like making better conscious choices
Mhm.
to including more sattvic style thoughts, beliefs, clothes, food, whatever, music, um, it becomes easier for you, I feel, because what happens is that you start to like how you feel. You start
Mhm.
to like, wow, I actually feel better. I feel good. Or you start to notice that your life is actually more colorful in the context that you feel good about your life. You like you're grateful. Like there's a different energy in the air. You feel different.
There is also, as we all have, we have our charts, the
Yeah.
astrology charts, specifically Vedic charts, and we have nakshatras.
Mhm.
And every nakshatra has guna. So some nakshatras are rajastic, some nakshatras are sattvic or
Yeah.
tamas. If a person, and we have 9 planets, if plus ascendant, so 10. If person has more sattvic nakshatras, so it's easier for a person to live in sattvic lifestyle.
Yeah.
And opposite, like maybe some person gonna have rajastic, so that person gonna be
Yeah.
workaholic, money, money, buy, buy, buy. Or tamasic, it's more inertia, laziness, alcohol, drugs. So
Yeah.
it's like
And if
it's
someone wants to learn that, by the way, I'm just going to do a little marketing for Anya here. If you want to learn what that looks like, y'all can book a session with her. Um, and kind of figure out where your planets are by in your sidereal chart and looking at where your nakshatras are and really what is your dominant guna per se and kind of get some advice on that. I think that's such a great self-development, like in the moment. I could do this right now in my life. I can learn about how I can live more in alignment. And I would say, I'm sure you would say the same thing to a client, like don't be discouraged if you notice that all of your nakshatras are predominantly tamasic nakshatras. It's not a bad thing, but that would speak more to what the soul is working through and the soul is working on.
I think the person who has like all nakshatras in Tamasiki wouldn't be even watching us.
Oh, okay, there we go. So I was giving them a little bit more credit. But it's one of those things where don't be discouraged. I always try to tell people it's in astrology because sometimes the worst charts that people bring to the table, I don't like even saying the idea of a worst chart because I try to look at everything in a neutral perspective because I think it's all, there is an individual level of consciousness that comes to the table. The soul wants to grow. So don't be discouraged if you're noticing, because I could find it so easy for some people where they see the Tamasic energy, like, well, I'm screwed. Like, this is
No,
it.
it
And
means a person more needs to work more.
yeah, exactly. And put in more of that the Rajas work and put in that whatever that looks like. Um, and so um I was gonna ask you about this actually, about when it comes to astrology. So in when you do a reading you could see this. My other curiosity is because you had mentioned before in earlier episodes that in Vedic astrology you can also see the influence in the chakras in one's chart. You could see um which chakras could be blocked or challenged or where karma is being stored or whatnot. What I was curious is from a chakra perspective, um how do the gunas connect to our chakras?
So I was I was probably telling you that you can see dosha type, the vata
Oh,
dosha, pitta
yes.
dosha. That's you can actually see from the nakshatras too. And for the chakras, how the guna stored in our chakras. So the Saturn, it's like so sun and the moon, it's our third eye chakra, right? So I would say that. So the Sattvic planets are Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Sun, Moon, Jupiter. Rajas planets Venus, Mercury, and Tamasic planets Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu.
Wow.
Yes, so the Sattvic planets, yes, Sun, the Moon for sure,
And Jupiter?
Jupiter, Venus is for sure Rajastic, and I believe Mercury is Rajastic too. And then all the malefics go to
The
Tamas.
Tamasic.
Yeah, and that goes for the like I guess chakras. Saturn goes Muladhara chakra, and that's
Okay.
what our sexual chakra, right?
Okay.
So I guess like that we go from there because
Interesting.
the sun and the moon, I Mercury is Vishuddha, Venus is Anuradha, Mars is what solar plexus, and then goes what else we have? Venus and Saturn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
it's interesting how, like, again, I asked this question because I want people to see how easily you can bring the gunas into every area. Like anything that we're practicing, it shows
mhm.
up.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean, whatever you're wearing right now, it's all consists of gunas. Your hair,
yeah,
like your hair shampoo is the gunas. Like the gunas is like in everything in our life.
totally. And I think it's just and in a way, like you said, to live to live to the peak of the top, it would mean you need to absolve everything, get rid of everything, and go to the mountains, go to the caves, and be like, "Peace out, I'm done."
Yeah.
Um, but one of the things I was going to ask you is, where's the balance for people? Like for the individual, it's like I want to live that sattvic life, but I'm also enjoying some of these pleasures. I'm enjoying some of these passions that I have. Can there be a blend of both? Is that possible?
Well, because we live in a series in the 21st century in Kali Yuga, we need to have this healthy amount of Rajas gunas.
Okay.
We need to go away from Tamas into Rajas and Sattva.
Okay.
Rajas we have to have because we have to have make money to put food on the table. We need to have
Yeah,
money
of course.
to pay for the electricity, right? To like
To do
fake
this, to do
yeah,
everything that we're doing.
like the internet, yes, right? So we live in this world. We need to have a Rajaguna. We need to have that the energy of material of the. We need to have the desire to make money, but definitely we want to be more on the
Yeah,
to Sattva side than on Tamas Rajas.
totally. And
Yeah, but
could we
again,
also, oh, good.
it's a hard work because it's
Yeah,
much easier to lay down on the couch than
yeah,
go and sit and meditate, for example.
totally.
So
And you
it's
know
much
what's fun?
Sorry to interrupt, but
No, no, you're fine.
to do a bunch of drugs than to meditate, you know?
Yeah. What's wild is that I always tell people this, that I started waking up very, very early in the morning every day, and I get up around 3:30 in the morning. And the reason why I do this is that I actually love, and there's a calling in me that even now it's 1 p.m. here, and I'm so excited to go meditate tomorrow morning at 3:30 in the morning. What
Rak
ends up happening,
muhurta.
and when you start doing these exercises, you actually start to like I was saying earlier, it makes you feel good that you want to go do that meditation thing. So in reality, my desire to like go lay on the couch, for an example, doesn't exist anymore. Because what happens is you like so much how the other thing feels. And so in the moment, there's I don't know if you ever worked with oh, what's it called? I'm gonna forget the name of the, I think it's they use it in the Gene Keys and in human design. It's the Tao, nope. Well, the I Ching. Sorry, the I Ching. It was coming to me. The I Ching, the third I Ching is all about difficulty in the beginning. And I always use this as an example for people because what happens is it's only difficult in the beginning for you to do something when it's new for you. And it's a little uncomfortable because you haven't embraced this or created this new habit. So if you're trying to integrate more sattvic practices into your life and you want to try to meditate, for an example, instead of being lazy, just the example that you gave, start off with just getting yourself on the meditation mat. Just start with getting on the pillow and sitting there for because we have to remember in some context that when you're not living a sattvic life and you're being ruled by the tamasic world, the brain becomes like a monkey brain and it just goes. It's like addicted to whatever it can do. And one thing that I always try to tell people is become aware of your five senses, because your five senses are going to be consistently, daily, every second wanting something. I want tacos. I want this. I want this. I want to see this. I want to do that. And it's not that they're talking like that, but it's what's happening in your body. And being aware of those things, of what is being asked of you, can help you make these changes and being like, why am I craving this taco right now? I always tell people, like, ask yourself why. Why do you want that? Why do you want the taco? Why do you want that skincare product? Why do you want this? Like, what is the purpose behind it? And I feel like that's a good technique to crack sometimes the tamasic world and even the rajas world. Why? Why am I doing this?
You asking
And
me?
I know, just in general, it's just a thought. It's just an idea of like, why am I doing
I
things?
just
I'm
worked
going on a
out.
rant.
Sounds wonderful. And the skincare, I never say no to skincare, working in the skincare.
Right. I don't know why that came to me, actually. It's funny. Um, and so one of the other things I was gonna ask you is the idea of, we're talking about how to live in alignment. And I'm thinking about the people that are feeling like they're out of alignment. Individuals that are listening today that are feeling off, that feel out of alignment, and they want to try to live their life more in alignment. Do you have any tips or tricks that you feel like, based, thinking about the gunas, of how they could try to get more into alignment?
So I feel like we always need to start with our body.
Okay.
Detox. Um, as you know, I have a baby, and like I used to do detoxes all the time, like a fasting,
Yeah.
because once we fast, the brain start like seeing clear. And when I was in hospital a couple of weeks ago and I didn't eat for a day, my mind was like clear. I
Yeah.
start like thinking clearer, like I'm like, okay, this make more sense. And once we again start to eat, so I would start, if people like feel they're not in alignment, start like do a fast, like with the body.
Okay.
See what do you eat, maybe go do some sort of like body like movement to get that energy going, and then start slowly, like go through your wardrobe, just leave all the like organic nice materials, like instead of going to, I don't know, Costco and McDonald's, maybe just go to buy like some vegetables and spend some time more with the family cooking at home, like just
Yeah.
start from yourself. Yes.
I love that advice. Start with the detox, I think, is great advice. And cleanse what's in the body first.
Yeah.
It's almost like preparing the body
Yeah,
in a
no.
way. So I love that advice a lot. Um, One thing that I always recommend too is, like you were getting into earlier, is the idea of using water. Cleanse. Like some sort of cleansing is
Oh
really
yeah, the water is
important.
the best cleanser for sure.
So those, I think a cleansing and a detox is great, to at least help create the environment within your body to get into alignment. And cleanse out whatever toxicity is creating the out of alignment feeling that you feel. And so one thing that I was thinking about is social media, technology. Where do these show up within the gunas?
It's Rajastic for sure. And I'm like, oh, it's not. We can watch like I don't know, something like very educational on like online, right?
Yeah.
But we can also watch like a bunch of porn online or like something like that. So it goes in a different direction.
It depends on what you're doing.
It depends on what you're doing, and then goes up to the person, like you choosing what you're watching. You know, I've done two Vipassanas, and in Vipassana, when you go there, you can use your phone for 10 days. So no phone, no any kind of interactions, not even talking to other people. So for 10 days, with no phone, with no social media, with no TV, it's amazing. It's such a detox for your brain. When you take your phone, it seems like you took something new, and like you can feel all the energy. It's like you feel it. It's something like that.
Yeah. I love that. I love that
Once I know you want one day you'll go to Vipassana, you will after 10 days you'll know what I'm talking about.
I always say this to people, that the world would be, if we didn't have to rely in some essence on social media or technology for certain things, I feel like there's a natural, there's a part of us, I feel like, that would be like, no, I don't need this. Like, I don't want it. But I feel like it's created such a dependency. Like humans are now dependent upon these things that have been introduced, which again gets into the rajas that you were talking about. The other, because I was thinking about a lot of the conversations I've had with people in the past week, and I've had a lot of people talk to me about difficulty that they've gone through, whether it's heartbreak, grief, loss, and difficult emotions, difficult chapters of their life. And it made me wonder, when I was coming up with these questions for you, kind of how do the gunas show up in those difficult moments of our life? Whether it's like heartbreak or loss or grief, whatever it may be, you pick any of them just as an example. But I was just curious.
So obviously, like for example, two people break up with each other, right? And there's like one decides to leave, there's going to be jealousy, sadness, like all of these emotions. That's basically probably tamas, because we need to live in unconditional love in sattvic way, thinking that this person was a passenger for this lifetime, a teacher for something. So we need to appreciate having that person in our life, and like, okay, thank you, next to the next chapter.
Yeah.
So that's that. But I guess again, to have jealousy, it's much easier than not to have jealousy.
Right. Yeah.
Even your thoughts, like I start being very conscious about my thoughts, and I'm thinking about something, and I'm like, and I'm stopping myself there, like,
yep.
So like our thoughts going crazy. So again, like to have this anger, it's much easier than to not to have anger, than to have a love to a person, whoever did or something bad or wrong.
Yeah.
It's a constant work on ourselves.
Totally. I think that's what it's about. I think it's and that's what the guna, again, that's why I feel like the name that I really liked for this episode today was the idea of how to live an aligned life, because it's work towards living in alignment in that way. And it's not going to be easy. And I think also we have to acknowledge that it's not always going to be rainbows, buttercups, and butterflies. And sometimes we get ourselves into relationships that are not going to work out. And like you said, they're teachers that are pointing us towards, I feel, more of that alignment, more of those unconditional loving relationships. How could I have that unconditional love and know what that looks like unless I had the opposite? Which could be like narcissism, or the people that have shitty relationships. The other thing I was just thinking about as I'm sitting here is Now, we're not going to get into the technicalities of it all or get very political in this way, but politics is a very interesting topic as well. And I'm curious how the gunas kind of show up. And, in the past year, we had an election in the country. And I'm just curious I don't know if you've thought about this before, but politics in the gunas, how this shows up, and how could we maybe create more harmonic relationships? Like you're like, no.
So in Vedas and ancient scriptures, it is predicted that in Kali Yuga, every politician is going to be corrupted. So
Okay.
basically, it's written in the Vedas. So basically, politician equal like corruption, lying. So that goes to Tamas like right away.
Yeah.
It's that's the ancient Vedas like predicted that the Kali Yuga politician going to be selfish and not about think like kings. Yes, right. Back in the days,
Yeah.
king has to taking care about their kingdom, which is politician, president.
So could conversations about politics in itself be considered tamasic because it's of a lower vibration, or?
Well, I'm sure there's politicians out there, some politicians out there who are maybe sincerely thinking about the people and not, but I don't know.
It's a question mark. That's what I was curious, because I'm thinking if they believe that in Kali Yuga any politician is considered as
Like
corrupt.
Trump is a Leo rising.
Okay.
The Leo sits kings, but also the ego goes
through the roof, which is interesting. And it would be interesting to look at his chart for an example to see. Maybe we should do that together in the future, is look at some charts, and maybe you could pull some out that are like have dominant tamasic sattvic. Like we can look at that. Would be a fun exercise of famous people, and we can look to see how that matches up with their. And I'm curious if he's an individual that has a very dominant tamasic chart or a dominant sattvic chart.
If I'm not mistaken, he has Rahu in the 10th house of the career, and he has Moon in Scorpio, which is debilitated in Vedic astrology.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we should do this in the future. I think that'd be fun. If we get a chart, we could share the screen. I think that'd be cool for people.
I have a friend, Ilda, she always sends me she just moved to New York, so she goes like on a dating nonstop. She's 20 something, and she always sends me screenshots of a chart of a guy, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a drug addict, this is a psycho.
Walk away.
He's going to get divorced 5 times. Why do you need to get into this?
Yeah. Okay, I think it'd be really fun for people, especially when we talk about these things and looking at celebrities or looking at things that are happening. I think it'd be really interesting, especially when looking at the gunas. And I think it's interesting because politics is such a divided thing right now in the country and in the world. And we have Mars today, as you and I are talking, on K2. So there's something to all of this that I think is really cool. As you and I are filming this is happening. I actually don't know exactly the time that the conjunction happens, but it's sometime today.
I think it's sometime today, July 22. Yeah, it's happening. Definitely something is gonna happen.
It's interesting. And you had already mentioned that there was an earthquake in Russia, which you and I were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's literally Mars at 26 and 30. And Ketu is 26 and 38.
Oh,
so it's literally happening like in the next 1 hour.
Yeah,
but it's exactly right now. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't watch the news. Or
Me neither.
Scrolling to Instagram, so I wouldn't know.
Exactly. Or someone will send it to you, like another astrologer, another friend will be like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, since our ultimate goal is to step into that sattvic living, do you think in order to live that sattvic life in a world that is so overstimulated, you need stillness, you need quietude, like you need that sort of environment in order to achieve a sattvic life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely to be somewhere living in the village where you have like organic produce and you don't need to go even like living right now big city, right? Like we still like we have to go downstairs, get dressed, like put like I don't know,
Yeah,
like so it's a rajas. Everything is rajas to buy,
totally.
consume, and yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
one question that I was asking before we got on, and I just want you to kind of talk about it because I liked your answer earlier. One term that I like talking a lot about is the idea of spiritual bypassing. And I've talked about this before in different videos. And I was curious if you felt like too much sattvic living could actually be a form of spiritual bypassing.
Yeah,
And
because
yeah, go ahead.
sat
Sorry.
the sattvic energy is basically so the goal in life is to get to a spiritual liberation, not to have
Mhm.
reincarnations, because every reincarnation we're suffering. We came here to suffer, to pay for the karma. So basically, the goal of soul to reach that goal of liberation.
Yeah.
And
Can I
through
ask you liberation from what? What do you feel when you say liberation?
liberation of the samskara to
Yeah.
from incarnation, constant like the you die, reincarnate again, you die, reincarnate again.
Yeah.
So
And
and
it's interesting because I asked the question too because Rajas and Tamas has purpose in some essence, in the context that when have you ever heard of the common term like shadow work?
yeah.
Is shadow work so shadow work is about us diving into the depths of ourselves and kind of healing the parts of ourselves, what the parts of ourselves we don't want to see.
Mhm.
And part of those parts that we don't want to see are going to be our tamasic selves or the parts of ourselves that are living in rajas, right? So would we consider shadow work? I'm curious, is that considered more of a sattvic practice? Um, because you're having to look at the ego, you're having to look at the part of you, you know, that could have wounds that need to be healed and being very honest with yourself. I'm curious.
Of course, well, that comes into my first sentence. We live in a Maya
Yeah.
illusion, our like false ego. So yeah, it's complicated.
It is. That's why I love the subject. I think it's a complex. And this why I like asking these questions because even those for those who are listening to contemplate these in your own life
Yeah.
because I think this is so important. Um, I think contemplation. I always say this to people is a gift that we were given in this lifetime to sit and just dive deep and allow ourselves to contemplate and think about these deeper questions and say, how does this influence me? How is this affecting me? Which kind of leads me to this question. Like I've gotten asked this from so many people just because of how I've chosen to uh make changes in my life as far as how I wake up, how I meditate, how I do my yoga practices and everything. Um, do you feel like it's possible um to identify with a sattvic way of living and still participate in the modern world? I have so many people that ask me this question all the time. Like, what about relationships? What about like buying a house? What about getting a car? What about doing all these things? And if you're living in a true that point of a sattvic living, you don't need any. You're not looking at any of that.
Well, again, if you decided to be a monk somewhere, or I don't know, like to you lived your life, you made your money, you don't need to worry about paying the bills or buying the food, then yes, it's possible to buy land somewhere,
Yeah,
buy cows and go milk a cow and like go like grow cucumbers. So it's possible, but again, because we live we live in the Rahu Maya illusion world, which is material stuff is everything. We need to, I don't know, chair to sit down for the dinner,
yeah,
to food, the car to drive, to put a gas in that car, to pay for internet. So it's
totally.
impossible to live. Well, we need, again, it needs to be a healthy balance, sattva rajas, in this
Yeah,
specifically in 21st century living in the United States, for
in the time
example.
that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you brought this up. And you know what? It reminded me of a book. And I don't know if you've ever read this book. It's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It was written in like 1901 or 1902. And one of the things that he said is that at one level, we have to change our perspective of money and our relationship with money. But in that, one of the most important gifts that you could do in this world is by becoming successful for yourself. And I kind of am feeling some of that energy of what you were just saying, from the perspective that if you want to get the land and be able to create the environment, the cows, the all of that's going to cost money,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And there's something,
Unless you made a bunch of money and then like you have money saved and then like, oh, let me be a Sattva person.
yeah. It's a really interesting thought to think about. And I think I find so many people that are making are in this middle ground territory. Like, what do I do? And I think it could be very stressful for some people. Like I meet people all the time that are so stressed. They're like, how can I possibly date this person when now I have like my consciousness is like, I need to do this. I need to go take this path. I need to go do this. And it's almost like, where's the balance between living in both spaces, honoring the part of yourself that wants to try to integrate sattvic living into your life, but also knowing that you're also human. And there's a part of you that also is living this human experience at the same time. Um, so that's very interesting. I love how we could feel the complexity of these. And they're so simple at the same time, but they're so complex as you dive deeper into it all. Um, do you feel like there's anything that you would like us to know about the gunas in general that you feel like would help any of the listeners today? Any wisdom that we didn't necessarily get to tap into today just yet?
I think we covered a lot.
Okay.
It's very
Um,
important people to start from them, like from their personal life,
yeah,
from the food
yeah.
between from the clothes we wear.
And I think I also booking a session with you and looking at their chart so they could see what does their chart say. Um, my last question I was going to ask you, and I don't know if I got into this earlier, was do you feel like the gunas also are tied to an accumulation of karma from your past life? Yeah. And do you feel like, and in the chart, that's what you would see is that's what the soul has accumulated in the totality of their past lives. If, for an example, they're in a predominantly Rajas individual, it's because that's where the soul is at in their development.
Of course, definitely. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Again, what was the name of your website for everyone? Ruchaka.com.
Sattva.com.
So if you want to book a session with Anya and dive a little bit more into this, I think this is a session in itself for someone to learn about the gunas in their own chart. Definitely go to wuchaka.com. And I will obviously share your website in the description and your Instagram handle. For those of you who are interested, Anya's been posting a lot about the astrology transits that are going on. And if you'd like to learn or get those kind of weekly updates or whatever's happening in the sky, I encourage you to follow her and get some of those updates of what's happening in your chart and book a reading with her. So, Anya, thank you so much for being here
Yeah.
and diving into this with us. I really hope those of you who are listening can apply these teachings or at least begin to dive deeper yourself into studying them and exploring how you can integrate them. I'll also tag that book that you shared from the gentleman that had passed away. We'll go ahead and tag his book. And for those of you that are interested in diving deeper into this system, we'll add the book here for people to purchase from Amazon. So thank you again, Anya. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you all have a fabulous day or evening wherever you're listening to this, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.